Hey guys, it's Austin, and today I am going to be showing you my new main deck for standard play. It is a mono blue devotion, however it is a homebrew using the Master of Wave strategy. It is not a copy of the one that was used in the championship, or as everyone else has been using. I took my own spin on things, and I think I've made it better in some ways. To go over the deck, we have 29 creatures, 6 spells, 23 land, and 1 Planeswalker. We also have a legendary land, making 24 in total. I will go with land. I run 23 basic land islands, and then I run 1 Nykthos Shrine of Nyx, making 24 land. Creature-wise, I have 29. I also sideboard 1 creature, as we will get to later. 1-drop. I have 4 Judge's Familiars. They are 1-drop for 1/1 with flying. Sacrifice Judge's Familiar, counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller plays 1, which is great for early game. Can really save you in some ways, early game. For 2-drop, I run 4 Omenspeakers, which you want to try to get in your first couple turns because it lets you sculpt your hand. It is a 2-drop for 1/3, and whenever it enters the battlefield, you get to scry 2. Really comes in handy early game. I have a playset of Tidebinder Mages, 2-drop for 2/2. Whenever Tidebinder Mage enters the battlefield, tap target red or green creature an opponent controls. That creature does not untap during its controller's next untap step for as long as you control Tidebinder Mage. Great card. Really shuts down red and green aggro decks. Can save you a lot, especially with red and green, because red and green is known for its aggro capability. I have 4 Mindreavers. These are new guys from Born of the Gods. They are 2-drop for 2/1. They have a heroic ability that whenever you cast a spell that targets Mindreaver, you exile the top 3 cards of an opponent's library. Then you may pay, and with the cards that are exiled from the top, you may pay 2, and you can counter one of the cards that you have exiled. You also sacrifice them as part of the cost. I have in the 2-drop, I also have Curse of the Swine, which is a 2-drop sorcery. 2-drop in X, where you pay so much mana and it allows you to exile that many target creatures and replace them with 2/2 boar. This comes in handy for controlling other people's decks. I've done this to Aetherlings a few times. I wait for them to tap out and I can turn the Aetherling into a 2/2 boar. I also, however, use it on my Elementals, so that in case anything ever happens to my master, I don't lose that elemental. I keep the elementals. Really comes in handy for keeping them because of all the removal that has been found for the Master of Waves. 3-drop, I run 1 Thassa Master of Waves. I also sideboard 1. She is a 3-drop for 5/5 with Indestructible. As long as your devotion to blue is less than 5, Thassa isn't a creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, you scry 1. Great for sculpting your hand. Then you can tap 2. Target creature you control cannot be blocked this turn. Great for whenever you're getting into that end game and you're swinging your elementals at them. If you can stack the Master Waves, bringing up their counters to get powerful. You play it onto Thassa, and you play it onto Elementals, and you just keep swinging. And their life will very quickly drop. They'll become overwhelmed, they can't do much. That's what I use the Thassa for. I run a playset of Wavecrash Triton. They're a 3-drop for 1/4. They have a heroic ability that whenever you target them with a spell, you tap target creature. That creature does not untap during its next untap step. I also run a playset of Wall of Frost, which is a 3-drop for 0/7 with Defender. Whenever you block a creature, that target creature does not untap during its controller's next untap step. I mainly put that card in for the devotion. As you can see, most of my other cards are aggro, or have the aggro mindset, where this one is mainly just I can keep back, kind of block, and the devotion really helps, especially with a creature like that, because that's not going to really leave the battlefield at all. This is another Born of the Gods card. This is a instant. It's called Fated Infatuation. It's a 3-drop. It allows you to put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of target creature you control. If it's your turn, scry 2. What I use this for is copying the Master of Waves, because that gives me another devotion and lets me replay the Master of Waves ability, and it also lets me stack the counter. So say I have one on the battlefield and I copy him, that makes all my elementals 3 2s, and adds and lets me replay the ability. So it comes in really handy. So basically, if I have the Master of Waves and I have these in my hands, I can actually play up to 6 Master of Waves at a time. I then run, now into the 4-drops, I run a playset of Master of Waves. He's a 4-drop for 2/1 with protection from red. Elemental creatures you control get +1/+1. When Master of Waves enters the battlefield, put a number of 0/1 elemental blue 0/1 blue elemental creature tokens onto the battlefield equal to your devotion to blue. The only problem with him is that as soon as he dies, and if you do not have another one on the battlefield, you lose all of your elementals. That's where the Curse of the Swine comes in handy, the Fated Infatuation, and the reason I run a playset of them. I run one Planeswalker in this deck, and that is a Jace, Architect of Thought. He comes out with 4 loyalty counters. His +1 is until your next turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks, it gets -1, -0 till the end of turn. This is good for controlling aggro decks until you can full swing with your 30 elementals that you summon up using your masters. His -2 is reveal the top 3 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Normally they put 1 card in one and 2 in the other. You get to pull. You're allowed to keep one of the piles, the other one you put on the bottom of your library, in any order. Good ability. I mainly use the +1 because I really like the Jace for his loyalty. I have never used the -8 in a game, but his -8 is for each player. Search that player's library for a non-land card and exile it. Then a player shuffles his or her library. You may cast those cards without paying their mana costs. This could come in handy if I do not have any Master of the Wave. Any Master Waves on the battlefield. I can pull cards out of theirs to maybe help mine or control them a little bit. I've seen people use these to pull Sphinx's Revelations, I believe. I've seen some people do. I mainly use this +1 though. That's what I recommend doing. And then for my last 4-drop cards, I run 2 Bident of Thassas. It's a 4-drop legendary artifact. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. And then you can tap 2 and tap creatures your opponent control. Attack this turn if Fable. I really like that ability, and here's why. If I can get an opponent to swing all of his creatures at me, leaving him with no blockers, unless they have Vigilance, I can swing all of these without being blocked, which in most cases ends the game. Normally, whenever you get a Master Waves out and you have X amount of creatures on the battlefield, like this one is good at keeping creatures on the battlefield, it's game over. Especially if you pull the Thassa and the Bite, the deck goes together quite nicely. I'm going to go over the sideboard now. The sideboard contains just some extras of what are in the deck in case I need to run more of those, because that game I really need them. They also give me a little bit more of a controlling side of things. I run 1 Thassa, God of the Sea. We already went over it. It's on my main deck. I have sideboard 1. I run 2 more Curse of the Swines in my sideboard. We already went over that. I run 4 Gainsays. whenever I play blue decks. This is a 2-drop and lets me counter target blue spell. It comes in handy if they are playing control and I need to maybe save my own. If I play something and they somehow counter it, I can counter that. Or if they play an Aetherling, I've countered Aetherlings before with this. Great card to have. I'd recommend it to anyone who's playing blue or anything with blue in it. I recommend playing that, at least a playset of them in the sideboard. They can save you. I'm also running 4 Dissolves. It's a 3-drop. Counter target spell, scry 1. Goes along with this. If I need to, I can throw it in. The scry ability on that is also very nice. For the last cards on my sideboard, I am running 4 Triton Tactics. I can do this if they are really aggro heavy, and I can also use it to trigger my creature's heroic. Some of them do have the heroic ability. Up to 2, it's a 1-drop. Up to 2 target creatures get +0/+0 end of turn. Untap those creatures. And at the, what is it? Yes, and they also, the creatures that I block using, that I cast this onto Thassa and Wall of Frost. Well, I block his creatures with those 2 creatures. They don't untap during the next untap step. So it basically gives Wall of Frost. Well, I want to do it on the Wall of Frost because it already has that ability. But it's the same ability. It makes sure that they don't untap. This card really hoses aggro decks. So here you have it. This is my new main deck. It, at this time, is completely done. I really don't want to add anything else to it. Maybe if some of the Journey into Nyx cards comes out, we'll see. I wouldn't mind having some more 1-drops, considering I only have 4 in the deck, but I seem to do very well with this deck for it being a homebrew. I have played people who use the Master of Wave strategy with almost an exact copy of the deck that he used, and I have beat them before. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys looking into this. Please like, subscribe, and share the video if you will. And until next time, this has been Austin.